Hey guys, I'm Larry Brunellen, the founder of the Natural Health Clinic, and today we're going to be talking about the effects of sugar on your red blood cells. Now I have a warning. After watching this video, you may never want to consume sugar again. We're going to get right into it after this. Stay tuned. Welcome back. So you're probably already somewhat familiar with the effects of sugar on the red blood cells through a very common medical test, and that's a hemoglobin A1C or an HA1C. And what this test does is it measures the thickness of glucose or sugar on the red blood cell. And the way that that sugar binds to the hemoglobin is through a process called glycation. Now, in the case of a HA1C, medically, they say that you want to be, at or below a 5.7. And I'm here to tell you that a 5.2 is even better, and maybe even lower is better than that. So here's a little bit about red blood cells. Now, they should be very flexible. They should hold and carry oxygen throughout your entire system. And they should be able to bind also with carbon dioxide so that they can carry it into the lungs so that your lungs can remove the carbon dioxide and then take back in oxygen and create this entire cycle over again. Now, when you consume sugar, that sugar causes the red blood cells to start becoming rigid or stiff. And so it really starts impeding this process. And as blood flows during this process of bringing it back into the lungs, into your capillaries, because of the stickiness, because of the stickiness, it can actually get stuck in your capillaries. Now that starts causing a real problem because over time in a chronic situation, if that occurs, and by the way, this is also the process of blood clots, but if that continues to occur, is getting stuck in your capillaries, that can cause tissue destruction in different areas of the body, or even necrosis, or further on into that into gangrene, which is why sometimes diabetics can have serious problems with that. Now, this can also be one of the reasons why if a person is anemic and they take iron supplements, maybe they eat liver, they do all different kinds of things, but yet they just don't seem to improve. It is actually because, frankly, their diet's terrible. They're consuming too much sugar, and it's impeding this entire cycle that I'm referring to. So they may even find, these individuals, that they start finding it difficult to, or they get short of breath very easily. Maybe they just climb up a flight of stairs and they're huffing and puffing and they turn to stimulants, and it just really creates a vicious cycle more and more. So one of the tissues that can really be affected by this process, especially because of the capillaries, are your eyes. And what this can cause as far as the amount of stiffness of the red blood cells and the stickiness of them is glaucoma. It can cause macular degeneration, the creation of cataracts. Cataracts are actually because of elevated blood sugar levels. And then, of course, another tissue that is particularly sensitive to sugar, and you may already know this, those are your kidneys. Now, an interesting thing about your kidneys, of course, they're a major filter of the body, right? But they produce a particular chemical, and this chemical helps your bone marrow to manufacture red blood cells. In fact, your bone marrow is a red blood cell manufacturing factory. They manufacture up to 2 million red blood cells every single second. So that is just incredible. So not only does it begin affecting the tissues within the kidneys, because they also have the capillaries and it can impede the blood flow within the kidneys, but it also hinders the production of this chemical, and therefore you're even getting less red blood cells. And so this entire process is really impeded. It's an extremely detrimental situation within this entire process, this entire cycle. Now, why are your red blood cells red? Well, you probably know the answer to that, and that's because they contain high amounts of iron. Now, another problem with the introduction of sugar in this glycation process is that the sugar can cause oxidation of iron. Do you know what oxidation of iron is? It's rust. So when the iron within the red blood cells starts rusting, what do you think that does? Well, what that does is it starts creating holes in your arteries. Now, that's probably not a very good situation to have. Certainly your body doesn't think so. And so what will happen is that will cause an elevation of cholesterol, because the cholesterol, especially the bad cholesterol, the LDL, will start patching up the holes from the rusting of the iron in your red blood cells because you're eating too much sugar. So I hope you found the information about red blood cells and the effects of sugar upon them, and hopefully, at the very minimum, maybe it will help you reduce some of the sugar carbohydrates within your diet. Now, if you're wanting help to get your health on track or optimized, then I invite you to apply as our client. You can do that by simply calling our office or going to our website, which is www.healthrebel.tv. And right there you will see apply as a client. Fill in that form and we will get back to you. So thanks for watching. I'm Larry Allen, the founder of the Natural Health Clinic. Have a great evening.